Hi, here I am back at Xcode. This time, in this video number 3, let's have a look at how you connect things from your view to the view controller. That is, how do I create, for instance, an outlet? So by resizing the toolbox over here, I can have a little bit of extra view. So let's create a label and a button on this blank page that I have over here, my data list view controller. So I'm going to drag a label over here. I'm just going to place it right now. I know there are something called down here at the bottom, there's something we can use called constraints to make these labels and buttons and what have you, these views that I put in, be placed at certain locations. But for this video, I'm not going to bother with that. So here's a label, and next to it or underneath it, I'm going to place a button. There you go. So that's it. Let's hook these two elements up to our view controller. You remember we did make this view controller, my data list view controller here, this one over here on the left, and we hooked it up to this view controller here, this scene that I have here, not this view controller, but this scene that I have here. And you can actually identify that simply by hovering over this little icon up here. It says my data list view controller. You can also click it and you can go here to the identity inspector, click here, and you can see that it has that name, my data list view controller. That way we know what file to put the outlets in. Okay, so let me just make some more room here. And now with this scene here selected, I'm going to click this split view or this assistant editor button up here. So when I click it like this, I actually get both my GUI stuff here on the left and my real code on the right. And you can see that by clicking that button, I actually got the my data list view controller file and not some random file. You can actually control what file to see simply by selecting up here. This breadcrumb thing that we have up here is actually clickable. So right now it is the my data list view controller. Okay, so what I do is I right drag or I control drag, depending on if you have a single button mouse or a double button mouse. So I have a double button mouse, so I right drag from the label to my class. Please identify that I'm actually dragging to inside the class definition. And you can see this little window here popping up that says outlet. That name that I have to write here, that could be my data label, it's just a name, is actually going to be a variable that will contain a link back to the label. So in code here, whenever I want to do something with that label, say set some text, put some text into it, I use this variable. So this variable is sort of a front for the actual label over here. Okay, I can do the same thing with a button. If I need to change the button's appearances or properties or what have you, I need an outlet for it. So my data button, and I put that here as well. That way I can change the value of the button's title if I wanted to. But outlets are not the only thing that you can drag and drop from here. You can also drag a right drag again from the button to somewhere else in the code here. I'm just going to put it down here, and instead of selecting outlets, I can select action, which is the method or the action that you want this button to have when you click it. So here I will give this method a name. So it'll be button pressed, and this type this type menu that you have here can either be any or the type of the view that received the click. In my case here, it's a UI button, so I select UI button, and I can here also figure out what to do when I click it. So instead of just clicking it, I could actually go touch down or select touch down, which means that when my finger touches the screen, I'm going to fire off this event, i.e. execute the code that I'm going to write in a second in this function that I'm about to define. But it's normal that you use touch up inside, so I'm just going to leave that. And when I click connect here, you can see that I actually get this tiny piece of code. There's nothing here except a definition for a function called button pressed, and that function is declared as an IB action, which simply makes the interface builder, hence the name IB, makes the interface builder know that this particular function here is connected to the button. I can right click on the button and I will actually get this little black window up here where you can see that touch up inside is sent to my data list view controller's button pressed method. That sounds about right. And also there's a referring outlet. So inside my data list view controller, there is a my data button outlet. Seems about right too, because that's what we just did. So this is actually a window that you can use to hook up stuff as well. I mean, I could actually drag from and then to some outlets if I wanted to. I have already done it, so there's no need for it. But say I deleted it like this, I could actually click this new referring outlet simply by clicking here and dragging it to the button outlet like this, and then boom, I have created the connection. Okay, so that's it for this time. I have created outlets and I have created a single action. I'll see you in the next video.